Yo, welcome to another open mic podcast. I'm your host, Mike B. And for the next hour and some change, I got a special guest coming through. He has a TV show coming out. He's doing an episode on his TV show I was a part of, and I want to chime in on that. I wanted to tap in on that. I want him to come in on that. Also, we're going to talk about some other things. Quick story. As always, I always do a cold opening. Um, November 4th, if you live in the state of Virginia, if you're in New Jersey, make sure you go vote. And the reason why you need to go vote is because they're actively trying to take that right away. And by actively, I mean we probably have another 2 weeks or so before that right to vote is probably done for if you're this color, right? Go vote. I'm not gonna tell you who to vote for, but all skin folk ain't kin folk. You know what I'm talking about? And the reason why I say go vote because sometimes I go and volunteer at some polling stations. I'm not going to tell you where, but I remember volunteering at polling. I remember my great aunt who passed away a few years ago when I was a small child, when I was the itty bitty Mike B. When I was a young Mike B, she would get up every morning around the time for the election and she would go work the polls and she had to be all in her early um, had to be like in her 60s, maybe 50s, 60s. Every morning she would get up and she would go when it come to election morning, she would work the polls from sun up to sundown. She was there. And she would get me dressed and she would go to the polls after she dropped me off at school. And she would sit there and she would be handing out the stickers and be patting you on the head if it was your first time voting. And, and she would encourage you to go vote. And I remember that because sometimes when I wasn't in school, I would be with her at those polls with my long socks and my Converse with her. And I remember seeing that. And I remember how encouraging it was to be black and vote. And I know that this is not the time or the era where we bring up, you know, race, but to be a black person to vote um, was something that we didn't have the right to do. And I remember that. And it was a very fond memory and a core memory for me. So as I got older, I started getting more active in the political process. Not too deep, but I just remember even if you do something as small as volunteer at a local polling station or hand out flyers, whatever, or just canvas a little bit, every little bit counts. So I encourage everybody within the sound of my voice on November 4th, if you live in Virginia, if you're in New Jersey, if you're in California, make sure November 4th you go vote